Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you don't miss any future deep dives.
Sounds good.
Ready to explore the wonders of our universe.
Absolutely. Always ready for an adventure through space and time.
Today we're going billions of years back in time
Oh, wow. Way back.
to uncover the mysteries of how our planet Earth came to be
The ultimate origin story.
and how life emerged from a fiery, chaotic beginning.
From chaos to life, that's quite a journey.
Now, for those of you prepping for the UPSC,
Ah, yes. The aspiring civil servants.
this deep dive aligns perfectly with GS1 geography, Earth's formation, and the emergence of life.
Essential knowledge for understanding our planet.
Even if you're not an aspiring civil servant who isn't fascinated by the story of our own planet.
You got that right. It's a story for everyone.
So let's start at the very beginning.
Okay, back to the basics.
About 4.6 billion years ago,
Long, long time ago.
there was a swirling cloud of dust and gas.
Imagine a vast nebula. A cosmic nursery.
A nebula, so like a giant cloud in space.
Exactly. Where stars and planets are born.
Okay, we've got this cloud of cosmic dust, a nebula. How does this cloud become the solid ground we stand on today?
Gravity is the key.
Gravity, the force that brings everything together.
It pulled this material together, compressing it, generating incredible heat.
So this cloud starts to collapse in on itself,
Right, and as it collapses, it spins faster and faster.
like a figure skater pulling their arms in during a spin.
Exactly. And all that spinning and compression creates intense heat. Think of the Earth as exhaling, releasing heat.
Releasing heat. So Earth was like a giant hot,
Ball of molten rock. Like something out of a science fiction movie.
wow, that's intense. And how did this molten Earth cool down to form the solid crust we know today?
Over millions of years, the surface gradually cooled and solidified.
Millions of years. That's almost impossible to imagine.
It's a time scale that dwarfs human existence. Think of it like molten metal cooling and hardening into a sculpture.
So the Earth's crust formed like a giant cooling sculpture. But this cooling and hardening process, wasn't it uneven?
You're absolutely right. Heavier elements like iron and nickel sank towards the center.
Drawn by gravity, right.
Exactly, forming the Earth's core.
So the core is made up of the heaviest stuff.
Precisely. And meanwhile, lighter materials like silicates rose to the surface.
So that's how we get the layered structure of our planet.
Like a cosmic sorting machine.
It's like Earth is an onion.
Exactly. But this layered structure, it's not just some textbook diagram.
What do you mean?
That molten outer core isn't just sitting there, it's constantly moving.
Moving. How does that affect us?
Well, its movement generates a magnetic field,
Oh, right. The Earth's magnetic field.
which shields us from harmful solar radiation, pretty crucial for life.
Wow. So that molten core is actually protecting us. What about the interactions between the crust and the mantle?
That's where we get volcanoes and earthquakes shaping the very landscape we live on.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've got a cooling Earth, a solid crust forming, and this incredible layered structure. But what about the air we breathe? In the oceans, all that water, where did that come from?
You're right, those weren't there in the beginning. Early Earth's atmosphere was a far cry from what we breathe today.
Well, what was it like? Difficult to breathe, I imagine?
Think less fresh air, more like a toxic volcanic stew.
Volcanic stew. Sounds a bit intense.
It was. Volcanic eruptions were incredibly frequent back then.
Spewing out all sorts of stuff, I bet.
Spewing out gases like methane, ammonia, carbon dioxide.
Not exactly breathable.
Yeah.
So how did this toxic atmosphere transform into the air we breathe today?
Those volcanic eruptions, they also released massive amounts of water vapor.
Water vapor. So the volcanoes were key to forming our oceans.
You got it. As Earth continued to cool, this water vapor in the atmosphere condensed.
Leading to?
Torrential rains. Rains that lasted for millennia. Imagine a downpour on a scale we can hardly comprehend.
Wow, a downpour that lasted for thousands of years. That's mind-boggling. And this rain is what formed our oceans.
Exactly. This rainwater filled the depressions on Earth's surface, gradually forming the oceans we know today.
So we've got a cooling Earth, a forming crust, a layered structure, and the beginnings of oceans. What an incredible transformation. But something's missing, right? We need oxygen to breathe, and early Earth's atmosphere was practically oxygen-free.
Absolutely. And that takes us to the next chapter in this incredible story.
The emergence of life.
The emergence of life and the dramatic transformation of the atmosphere.
From
a reducing environment to one rich in oxygen.
reducing environment. Sounds a bit technical.
Basically, it means there was very little free oxygen.
The kind of oxygen that we need to survive.
Right. Early Earth was a challenging place for life as we know it.
But life found a way.
Remarkably, life found a way. And that's where we'll pick up in the next part of our deep dive. It's amazing, isn't it?
What is?
To think about those early oceans.
Ah, right, when Earth was still young.
A world hostile to life as we know it.
Toxic atmosphere, very little oxygen.
And yet, something extraordinary happened.
What happened?
Life emerged.
Life. In those harsh conditions.
It's hard to believe, right?
Where would life even begin in such a harsh environment?
Imagine volcanic vents.
Like underwater volcanoes.
On the ocean floor, spewing out chemicals and heat.
An underwater volcanic world.
It was in these extreme environments, we believe, that the first life forms emerged.
The very first life on Earth.
Simple bacteria, single-celled organisms.
So life didn't start in some sunny paradise.
Not exactly.
But in these dark, volcanic depths.
Capable of surviving in conditions that would be lethal to us.
Wow, that's fascinating.
It is, isn't it?
But how did these early bacteria transform the Earth's atmosphere? We're breathing oxygen right now, and there was hardly any back then.
Well, some of these bacteria evolved a remarkable ability. Photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis, using sunlight to create energy.
Exactly. They took carbon dioxide and water.
The ingredients for life.
And converted them into sugars for energy.
Yeah.
And crucially, released oxygen as a byproduct.
Hold on. Wasn't oxygen actually toxic to most early life forms?
You're right, it was.
So how did these photosynthetic bacteria even survive?
Initially, the oxygen they produced would have reacted with minerals in the water.
So it was absorbed, essentially.
Essentially locked up. But over millions of years, as these bacteria thrived and multiplied, the oxygen they released began to build up.
First in the oceans?
Yes, and eventually in the atmosphere.
So these tiny bacteria were slowly but surely changing the very air we breathe.
Paving the way for more complex life.
But I imagine this oxygenation of the atmosphere had other consequences as well, right?
Absolutely. As oxygen levels increased, a layer of ozone formed in the stratosphere.
Ozone, that's the layer that protects us from the sun's harmful rays.
Precisely. A protective shield against ultraviolet radiation.
This was a game changer for life on Earth, wasn't it?
Absolutely. It meant that life could now venture beyond the depths of the oceans,
And move on to land.
opening up a whole new world of possibilities for evolution.
Okay, so we've got breathable air, a protective ozone layer. The stage is set for life to explode in diversity. But how did we go from those single-celled bacteria to the incredible variety of life we see today? Plants, animals, fungi, all those kingdoms of life.
That's where the incredible power of evolution comes in.
Evolution, the process of change over time.
A process that unfolds over billions of years.
Driven by.
Driven by variation, adaptation, and natural selection.
Could you break that down for us? What do you mean by variation, adaptation, and natural selection?
Imagine those early bacteria, constantly replicating, making copies of themselves.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Every now and then, a slight error occurs in the copying process,
A mistake in the code, so to speak.
leading to a variation in the offspring.
So the offspring are slightly different from the parent.
And some of these variations might give an organism an advantage in its environment.
Like a better way to capture sunlight, or a resistance to a certain toxin.
Exactly. These organisms are more likely to survive, reproduce, and pass on their advantageous traits.
Survival of the fittest.
Precisely. Over countless generations, these tiny changes accumulate.
Leading to the development of new and more complex life forms.
Exactly.
So it's like a constant process of trial and error, with nature selecting the most successful adaptations. It's amazing to think that such a simple mechanism could lead to the complexity and diversity of life we see today.
It is truly remarkable.
And that process of evolution led to some remarkable milestones. For instance, how did multicellular life arise from single-celled organisms?
Single-celled organisms began to clump together,
Why would they do that?
initially for protection or to share resources. But over time, these groups of cells became increasingly specialized
Each cell taking on a specific role.
and interdependent, eventually evolving into the first multicellular organism.
That's incredible. From single cells to multicellular life, a whole new level of complexity.
Exactly. And from there, the tree of life branched out in countless directions.
Let's talk about the plant kingdom. How did plants evolve from those early bacteria?
We see the descendants of those early photosynthetic bacteria evolving into algae,
Algae, those simple aquatic plants.
then eventually colonizing land and giving rise to the lush forests we see today.
So algae were the pioneers of the plant world.
You could say that. And in the animal kingdom, the first multicellular organisms were simple invertebrates.
Invertebrates, animals without backbones.
But over time, evolution produced more complex invertebrates.
Like too.
Then fish, amphibians, reptiles, and eventually the mammals and birds we share the planet with today.
It's mind-boggling to think about all this incredible diversity, from towering trees to the tiniest insects, all tracing back to those single-celled pioneers in the primordial oceans. But it wasn't all smooth sailing, was it?
You're right, it wasn't. There were mass extinctions, climate shifts, all sorts of challenges along the way.
It's important to remember that the journey of life on Earth wasn't a linear progression.
Absolutely. There were periods of rapid diversification punctuated by catastrophic events that wiped out entire species.
Like the extinction of the dinosaurs.
Exactly. Likely caused by an asteroid impact, which ironically created an opportunity for mammals to flourish.
And ultimately led to the emergence of our own species.
It's a fascinating chain of events.
So it's a story of resilience, adaptability, and even a bit of luck.
You could say that.
And while we focused on the plant and animal kingdoms, we can't forget those other fascinating kingdoms of life.
Oh, absolutely.
Fungi, protists, and the ever-important bacteria.
Each playing a crucial role in Earth's ecosystems.
What about fungi? What role do they play?
Fungi, with their intricate networks of mycelia, play a crucial role in decomposition and nutrient cycling.
Essentially recycling life back into the ecosystem.
Exactly. And protists. They're a diverse group of eukaryotic microorganisms, showcasing the incredible variety within a single kingdom.
From amoebas to algae, right?
You got it. And let's not forget the bacteria
The microscopic powerhouses.
that continue to shape our world in countless ways.
From driving nutrient cycles to influencing our own health.
They're essential to life as we know it.
So from those humble beginnings in the primordial oceans, life has diversified into these 5 distinct kingdoms, each playing a unique and essential role in Earth's ecosystems. It's truly a remarkable story.
It is, and it makes you appreciate the interconnectedness of all living things.
It really does. So it's a story of resilience, adaptability, and a bit of luck too, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
From those humble beginnings in the primordial oceans to the diversity of life we see today. It's amazing.
It really is. And you know, what we've explored today, it's just a glimpse into the vastness of Earth's history and the complexity of life.
There's always more to learn, isn't there?
Always. Countless layers to uncover, the intricate workings of plate tectonics.
Shaping continents, driving mountain building. It's incredible.
And then there's the fascinating field of genetics, unlocking the secrets of inheritance and evolution.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion, each layer revealing something new and amazing. But I'm curious, why should we care about Earth's past? How does understanding what happened billions of years ago help us in the present?
That's a great question. Understanding Earth's past, it's not just about satisfying our curiosity. It's about gaining insights. Insights that can help us navigate the future.
So it's not just about looking back, it's about looking forward as well.
Exactly. For example, studying ancient climate records, preserved in rocks and ice cores. Scientists can piece together how Earth's climate has changed over time.
And use that knowledge
To
to
model future climate scenarios.
and develop strategies to mitigate the impacts of climate change.
So it's like having a guidebook to the planet, one that helps us understand its patterns and predict its future behavior.
You could say that.
And for our UPSC aspirants, this deep dive has provided us a solid foundation for understanding the key concepts in GS1 geography, Earth's formation, and the emergence of life. Absolutely. From the processes that shaped our planet to the incredible journey of life, it's all interconnected.
And relevant to understanding our place in the universe.
Precisely.
Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive into Earth's formation and the emergence of life. It's been an incredible journey.
It has.
Be sure to check out the show notes for links to further resources, articles, videos, interactive websites, where you can continue exploring this fascinating topic. And before you go, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you don't miss out on future deep dives into the mysteries of our world. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, keep exploring.